when people come to us to make a complaint of discrimination, which is effectively that they've been treated unfavourably because of a particular personal characteristic in certain areas of life, so at school, at work, when they've entered a shop, a nightclub, a sporting club, when they come to us with those sorts of complaints, we commit it to writing. So we can either help somebody do that or they do that themselves through our online form. And we really need a range of information, which is basically what's happened, where has it happened, and who's responsible. And we then can draw those parties together, as I said before, and we can hopefully provide a resolution to that dispute. If a person's coming to us with a vilification complaint, and that's vilification, racial or religious vilification, so something's happened to them when they've been walking down the street or from a random person they don't know, some sort of racial or religious abuse when they've been in a shopping centre or on public transport. They may not know who the respondent is, and that's a challenge that we face. In those sorts of instances, people should still come to us because we can talk through your rights. We may be able to contact the shopping centre, we may be able to contact the transport owner, but if we can't identify the respondent, we're limited in terms of dispute resolution. But as I said before, we're still really keen to hear those reports because they help inform our other work. So it's really, I suppose in a nutshell, it's understanding sort of what's happened to the person in as much detail as they can give us. So we really need to know who they are, who the respondent is, where it's occurred, and what's actually happened. There are lots of barriers to making a complaint for people in the community. They often wonder what's going to change if I go through the effort. They're worried about their reputation, their jobs, how they might be perceived by others in the community. They're not sure that they want to put themselves through a process that may be difficult. But at the Commission, we do try and make sure our processes are safe. We do try and address power imbalances. We make our processes as accessible as possible because we know that in fact the people most vulnerable who are subjected to hate conduct and hate speech are also the least likely to come forward because of that vulnerability. So we try and make sure the service is safe and accessible. That's the first point. The second point is confidentiality. Confidentiality is a really critical part of the dispute resolution service, and so when somebody comes to us to complain, their privacy is respected and their personal information is respected. Obviously, if they do want to go through a dispute resolution process, we need to know who they are as well as the respondent in order to bring them together. But what happens at that conciliation conference remains confidential, and often the parties enter into an agreement to that effect. Of course, they can decide that the matter isn't to be kept confidential and they want to talk about it, which is actually really important too, as long as that's what the complainant wants. And I guess the other way, as I said before, that people can report is if they do want to report anonymously, that's okay too. We just won't provide them with a dispute resolution outcome in that case, but we certainly really appreciate still an anonymous report because it tells us what's happening in the community, which is really important for us to be aware of.